something new. I do like it. Like we're trying a new vibe. And it feels more legit.
It feels like we're real podcasters.
Says the girls who've been doing this for nearly 3 years.
For 3 years. So for anyone who's not watching on YouTube, which you should be, if you can.
You should be.
Go check it out. We are holding our mics,
It's
which
a
Nicole
whole
tried.
new,
Nicole tried it out last recording.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to hold my mic.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get better mics to do this, but we're making it work with what we've got for the time being. But yeah, no, I like it. This feels like more relaxed. I feel more chill. I do feel like maybe I need to like tilt my video just down just slightly to like come more into frame. Maybe you do too as well, just to come more into frame. This is the behind the scenes that everyone is craving.
Good evening, Nicole. Happy Sunday. Well, happy Wednesday to everyone listening this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, we don't need to give them too much. Happy day.
Happy day. And welcome back.
Such a weird mood.
I think you say that every time. That should definitely be if and when.
If we do it,
swag.
I know what you're talking about. I'm in such a weird mood.
I'm in such a weird mood.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling this week?
It's been a doozy. I'm really trying to not swear as much, so I'm gonna like try rein in my F-bombs a little bit more on the pod.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm just feeling it's a bit too much in my life.
I won't be doing that, by the way.
That's fine. It's just for myself. I feel like I need to because it's becoming a problem. What's new in my life? Well, I am prepared to dish the tea that I withheld last week.
She's dishing the tea.
Oh my God. So I have been basically over the last few months, I've been dating, which we've alluded to. We've talked about it. And there's been one individual in particular that I have been seeing more consistently. But to say it's been a bumpy road, I think would be an understatement. And after we recorded last week, he was meant to come over and we were meant to have a conversation because things have just been kind of not ideal. And like,
do you want to go into maybe just some examples of what not ideal has been?
Yeah, like again, this guy has a lot going on in his life, and I am not.
You're not here to put him on blast.
No, not at all. But there were just several instances where I felt really let down, where like he would change plans on me last minute or cancel plans, or like I felt like I was the one pushing or pursuing the relationship or whatever we were more than he was. And it got to the point where I finally said something because he could tell my energy shifted. Like my walls went up. When I get in my head, I get cold.
Yeah.
And like my walls go up and like you can't read me. And
when Nicole and I fight.
Yeah.
She goes complete. Well, we don't really fight, but like if we ever have a disagreement.
Kind of aloof. And
she goes like aloof. That's the perfect word.
And he struggled with that. And understandably. But it was one of those chicken and egg situations where it's like, to get back on track, what has to happen? Do I have to just like suck it up again? Or can he dig a little deeper and like show me that like how I'm feeling is a little unfounded? Anyways.
Right.
And again, I never want to put anyone on blast. I never want to talk about anyone specifically because they don't have the same platform we do to talk about this. However, he was meant to come over. And we had agreed to all of this, that he was going to come over. I gave him anyways. And then he messages me maybe like half an hour before he's supposed to come, being like, actually, can we jump on FaceTime? I want to have a serious conversation. Because we had talked the night before. And basically.
Did he say, I want to have a serious conversation?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because we had left it the night before being like, we're going to talk. We'll talk in person the next day, whatever. And I was just like, okay. And I had kind of gone into this being like, because he's about to go away for a few weeks, being like, listen, this isn't serious right now. We don't have to make this more serious than it needs to be. Let's maybe take the pressure off of this a little bit more, go back to just having some fun. and then you do your trip and we like see what we see when you get back kind of thing. That was what I was
Yeah.
going into this conversation with. And he was like, nope, I think it's just better if we don't do it. I don't think it's fair to either of us, blah, blah, blah. So fair, teach their own,
Yeah.
but
Disappointing.
yeah. And you know what? I was saying this to Meg. My point of talking about this isn't to be like gossipy and all of that. You don't tend to recognize your own patterns until you look back in hindsight.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of reflection this week. My notes app is popping. It is certifiable. And I've been doing a lot of reflection on this, of recognizing my own patterns and how maybe, again, I almost like self-abandoned in this situation because there were so many things that happened repeatedly that made me feel not good. And I, in this instance, would be like, okay, but he's got this going on, or oh, he's got this. And I think what this has caused me to do is do a little bit more kind of deeper identity work and kind of understanding my triggers and my patterns. But it's also caused me to be like, wait, the woman who I'm trying to become, the woman who in my gut I know I am, who has standards, who doesn't take shit, who builds the life she wants to live, she would not have put up with half of it. Not because he's a bad guy, just because he wouldn't have been my guy. And I think it's
Yeah.
really hard looking back and recognizing that maybe you weren't as true to yourself throughout that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been a kind of the bigger gut punch in all of this. He's a nice guy. I really liked him, but not mine. And that's okay. And
Yeah.
I just wish maybe I had more, don't know what the right word is. It's not confidence, because it's not a confidence thing. It's, I wish I just had the balls to be like, weeks ago, this isn't for me. Like the way this
Yeah.
is, like having the conversation we just had a few weeks ago. That's what I
Mm.
think I wish I had done.
I think as maybe I think in a lot of ways it is a female thing. Like for women, we try so hard to make things work.
Yeah.
We put in the effort to make something work. And I mean, at least in my experience dating the last little while, I don't know if it's that, age old, there's so many fish in the sea. So men are like and there's so many amazing women. Like that's true. So men are maybe less likely to like have the harder conversation or, put in the time to have to figure things out. But I do find like me and all of our close friends, I feel like we're so willing to make the effort and try.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not reciprocated.
I think what it is too is it goes back to what Tink says, where women date like venture capitalists and men date like stockbrokers. Men date
Yeah.
what's in front of them today, and women will date based on potential. And I
Well,
think half the time all of us have our heart broken. It's not because of the man who they are right then and there. It's what we saw that they could be and what we could have.
or the version of them that we've built in our head,
A
which is
100%, which is another
that's one of
issue with
my
some of my other
problems.
Tamagotchis.
That's one of my problems.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. No, I think like you're already figuring out why this has been beneficial to you anyways, right? Like going through this little bump in the road, I feel like you're turning it into a positive already. So good for you.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing that I will say, like, even if you get down, even if you kind of feel bummed, and I do feel bummed, like, I don't want to act like I don't have feelings for this guy because I do, but what's meant for you won't miss you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I firmly, firmly, firmly believe this. So, anyways, that's my tea that I was holding back last week.
I'm actually
And
trying to write about, I am writing about dating and trying to sum up some of our experiences and thoughts for the newsletter, the summer newsletter, that
add that in.
should be out by the time you guys are listening to this. But I think that like up and down nature of being actively in the dating world. Like, I
Yeah.
just feel like there's like these micro highs and then micro lows that you're constantly contending with, in a way that I don't feel happens in a lot of other spheres of our lives.
No. And the
And you
thing
have to get
is,
good at being resilient.
totally. And if people aren't in the dating world now, they're like, well, why are you so emotionally affected by all these things? I'm like, because you've been out of the game since Y2K. What are you talking about? Why am I getting like, you don't know what it's like out here.
Since Y2K.
I was going to out someone's name right then and there. Whew, would have been rough.
Ooh.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm backdated. Like I'm onwards and upwards, I guess.
She's got
But
some Tamagotchis going.
they're infants.
They're infants. They're still new, but
Mm-hmm.
you know. And for anyone who hasn't listened to us before, we're talking about how men are essentially our Tamagotchis through dating apps until they become actual
Till we meet them off
prospects.
the app. Yeah.
So Tamagotchis, we like to keep them active. Um, yeah, I think it's good, Cole. And if anyone's looking for some dating advice, last week's episode, banger. My update for this week is I went on a date on Thursday and it was like it was funny. So basically this was a guy who I knew was leaving. It was like a short-term situation from the
Okay.
get-go. He's moving somewhere else to do his like final semester of his MBA. And we just like have very little in common, but he's very attractive and super fun. And like we just like had like a really fun date on Thursday. And then I was like, okay, see you like
Never.
never probably. But it was really interesting. I feel like we both got what we wanted out of the date, which was like fun, flirty, make out energy. Like it was just like easy and fun. And I was like, okay, I didn't think that this was ever something that would be for me. Like I didn't think that this is ever something I would want to do. But like testing the waters in like the casual realm, I guess, has been interesting.
Do you think you showed up differently because there wasn't long term potential with it?
I think, yeah. I think for
Interesting.
sure. Yeah, and also this guy was like on my dick to see me again. Like I was away for a little while. He legit, Nicole, I don't even know if we've talked about this off
No,
pod.
because I didn't even know you went on a
He
date on Thursday.
he texted me an hour after I landed
Mm.
from London.
You did tell me this. I did,
And I was
yes.
like,
Oh, I know who this
hello,
guy is. Okay.
hi. And like I didn't even know if I'd see him again, frankly. Because like again, we're not that aligned in life and our goals and what we're like, but he was fun and super attractive and yeah, it was great to see him again. But it was very much like a okay, so I was like, so when are you moving? He's like next week. I was like, wowza. Okay, so I will like never see you again.
Never see you again. Phone
I was like,
sex?
he's like, I had, pardon,
Phone sex?
phone sex. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it later.
This isn't
I feel
off.
like
This is a
I feel
behind
like
the
I feel like
scenes.
this is ASMR for anyone watching. We're holding
Phone
our mics very
sex?
close to each other. Okay, yeah, no, so that was fun. And I guess maybe I can do casual if I don't see a future. And yes, I do think I showed up differently than I would because I just wasn't very in my head. I wasn't nervous. So bringing that energy to every date would be
That's the
lovely.
ideal.
Yeah, I'm working towards it. And then the other update I have is I got to spend 2 days with my little, she's not my actual niece, but my best friend's 3-year-old Bromley. And I just love her so freaking much. And they have a newborn, and I got to hold him. And I mean, he's just a little potato right now, but he's a cute potato. So I got to hang out with him. And yeah, I know we're going to talk about, advice for girls maybe entering their 30s or in their 20s currently, but and we made a joke last week of like once your siblings have kids, it makes you love your friends' kids less. But I don't have any siblings that have kids yet, and I just get so much joy from seeing my best friend's kids. Like
Yeah.
they are amazing, and it's incredible to see all the parts that they've sort of bestowed onto these little creatures. Um,
I love that.
yeah, it was really, really nice. And she loves me now. We're besties. So
It's
it's
like,
good.
were you over on the outs? Like, what's going on
No,
here?
we were never on the outs, but like she's so excited to see me now. She's like, Auntie
That's
Megsy's
the
here. And
best.
like she wants to like cuddle with like she loves having me around. I brought her some bubbles today, which was like 2 hours well spent outside just playing with bubbles. Which yeah, and it's nice to go over. I mean, I don't have kids, neither of us have kids, but having two children, these
A lot
parents
of
are
work.
going through it. These
A lot
parents
of work.
are they are going through it. At one point, Kyle was sort of asleep standing up. There was like they are tired as fook.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to take Bromley and like run around in a park with her and play with bubbles. So, anyways,
Nice.
that was a highlight for me this week.
That's awesome. I feel like that's such a nice, well-rounded weekend for you.
Yeah, I really needed a night in last night. There's something called there's like a festival every weekend in the summer in Toronto, but there was a festival on Ossington Street yesterday, and I met up with some friends during the day yesterday, and they were going to head over to Ossington, and I was like, guys, I can't. I'm so freaking tired. I don't know what was with me this week, but I was exhausted, and so I came home, ordered a pizza, and had a face mask on in bed by like 9.
I love that. I was saying to Meg, I, not last night, but the night before, did one of those overnight sleep masks. And I slept in them. It was fine. Because I'm normally a side sleeper. So, like, you can't do that when you're in those jelly masks.
No.
But at like 5 a.m., I like kind of woke up and I was like, well, that's enough. And I just like ripped it off my skin and threw it onto my bedside table. And at 7:30, when I like turned around and woke up, I'm just like this like dead little skin face mask just
Snake
staring at
skin.
me.
She shed a layer
It's
of her
like
skin.
there's like a side of it that's like blowing in my fan, flapping in the
Yeah.
wind.
I can't sleep
Anyways,
with those things on. I just sit and watch TV for 5 hours.
no, I love it. It felt so good. And my skin's just like absolutely losing it right now. It doesn't look like because I have makeup on, but like it's just more bumpy and red than normal. So need to sort that out. Anyways, advice?
Yeah, we're a cool 18 minutes into the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our updates. But we do want to kick off with some more advice related to career. Maybe we start with career.
Yeah. Um, I can give you one that I don't really know how to articulate it, but it's one I've been noodling on for the last like few weeks. Um, because sometimes being a younger woman and being one of the only younger women at the table, you feel like that puts you at a disadvantage because you
Mm,
feel like you have to play the game the same way that your male colleagues play the game. And I've recognized more and more, and I think I've talked about this before, use who you are to your advantage. Like, yes, you're not the exact same as your colleagues. You don't have to play the game the exact same way. The characteristics that you bring as like an individual and specifically as a woman, more those feminine qualities are actually a superpower in a lot of
mm,
very senior tables. And don't be afraid to tap into those or think that you have to change to like meet the temperature of the room that you're already walking into.
yeah, I think that's also especially good advice for right now in our current like work atmosphere, like the
Yeah.
way that people are thinking about work right now. I think I mean, we both work in marketing, and I spend so much time on LinkedIn every day.
Yeah.
And there's so many female leaders now sort of embracing like the
Being
emotional
a woman.
intelligence that often comes with being a woman and creating content for LinkedIn that's like doing so fucking well because
Yep.
ultimately they're like, okay, I'm going to lean into what makes me like, I would say one of the things that makes me good at my job is I'm willing to be vulnerable and admit when I'm wrong, and I'm emotionally intelligent. And so, why
1000%.
wouldn't you lean into those things in a way to like demonstrate? It's harder to quantify, like it's harder to quantify, but it's really, really important if you do want to get into, managing people, or if you do want to, yeah, climb the ladder, so to speak.
Totally.
Those skills will serve you very well. So definitely lean into them and figure out how to show them off to the right people.
1000%.
Yeah, I think I was reading, so I cannot take credit for this, but I co sign it completely. I was reading a cut article. It was, one of those weird, like, how did I end up on this webpage situations last night when I was scrolling.
Okay.
I can't believe I just said web page. What a loser. But I ended up on the cut, and there was a Dolly Alderton post about sort of like a look back at her book, Everything I Know About Love, which is about her 20s. And they'd asked her for some advice now that she's in her 30s for like things that she would tell her younger self. And one of them I thought was so true. Like, you are probably, if you're listening to this and you're in your early 20s, you're thinking like, okay, I want to be a manager by the time I'm, I don't know, 29, let's just arbitrarily. And Dolly Alderton's advice is everything takes longer than you think it's going to. So I wouldn't like basically assume that to be the case. So if you set a goal for yourself of I want to be a manager by 29, there are so many things that could happen that would mean that that's not the case. Um, and I guess one, I guess my advice is try not to, much the same way you might be thinking about marriage and having kids, try not to be too prescriptive of like, oh, I failed that because I didn't hit it by 29 when that's the age I said I wanted to, because you could get so much more information about yourself and what you want in the next 4 or 5
Totally.
years. And that timeline might completely change. Um, so that would be number one of my piece of advice around that. And then I think number two is, and this is something that I have experienced, and maybe I'm just really lucky, but I feel like in the last couple of years, I've stepped into an area of my career that I always sort of wanted to. So I work in marketing, just to make this make more sense. I work in marketing, but I've always wanted to work in brand strategy. Like I just always found brand to be an area that I thought I would be good at, but I have not really done a ton of that work. And
Yeah.
in the last year, I have had the opportunity to step into that. And just the way that my company's evolved, I'm working more with brand design, and um, it feels like I put something out into the universe, or I thought about something, and the universe is sort of giving back to me. And I think we are often all in opportunities where that could happen. So I think just like putting that energy out, or having that awareness when you're at work of like, here's a direction that I might want to go in. Um, and then making that work for you in the moment. Like, I guess I don't know if that's really making sense, but it just feels like it's happening sort of organically. And then when I reflected, I was like, okay, it's not that it's happening super organically, but like I sort of set myself up for that. So I think it's just about having the foresight of being like, what am I thinking about wanting to do with my career, and keeping those avenues open.
It sounds like you're talking about manifestation in its like purest form, where you're like, I would
Yeah.
like this, but then you act as if and start moving towards it, and then things open up for you. And I think one of the things all of us can do a better job on is, because I've seen this happen in so many places in my life, you get these like downloads or like little pings of intuition of like, oh, I should do that right now. And it may not be the thing that you're thinking is going to lead you to brand strategy, but it might be a little stepping stone. And then in doing that, it opens up another door, and then it opens up another door. And ultimately, you
Mm,
then end up in the place where you're like, I'm now in charge of this.
yeah, I think that's spot on. And also, I'm just remembering my dad worked in business. I like really look up to him. Like he
Yeah.
had such an impressive career. And one of the things he said to his team when they were mentoring people is make sure to tell people what you want to be when you grow up. And that
Yes.
requires you and he literally meant people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Like he didn't mean like when you're mentoring someone who's 10, tell them what you want to be
No.
when you grow up. Like he means it it's that sense of first of all, you need to know what you think you want to be, and you can be
Yep.
wrong. Second of all, you need to tell people. So I always when I'm in performance reviews, I'm like, what do you guys want to what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what are you looking to do? Do you want to continue to focus on this? Do you want something else? Like, how can I, as a leader, help you get where you want to go? And that's the easiest way of propelling the manifestation forwards.
Yeah. And it's hard too as a manager to motivate your team and to like figure out who can go where if you don't know what they want to be, right? Like, you know what your team is
Yeah.
naturally gifted towards, but that's half of it. I need to know what you want so that I can help you more effectively. And the same way, I don't expect my manager to just be like, oh, I know where Nicole wants to be in 10 years.
Yeah.
No, I know where I want to be, and I need to articulate that more effectively and ask for the opportunities that best align with that if they're available or if
Yes.
they
And I
become
think,
available.
yes. And sorry, I'm just getting so excited.
This
That
is what we
I,
really can talk about more is the career
yeah,
stuff.
this all comes back to advocating for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, you, part of advocating for yourself is being honest about what you want to do when you grow up. Am I boring you?
No, I'm so exhausted. I'm so sorry.
Nicole's
I
yawned
just
like
like,
5 times in the last
I
five
just had
minutes.
like so many yawns come out of my body. And I think if I'm going to get wooey for a second, I think it's when you start having these conversations and like admit it, and it's like it's leaving your body and it's like a physical response of that.
Wait, the stuff that you from the beginning of the
Yeah.
episode? Oh, yeah, you're letting go of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's what I think it is. It's not about you at all, my darling.
well, I should hope not. I don't want to get into another on-air fight.
No, no, no. I deeply
Just kidding.
apologize. It's a reflex that I cannot control.
No, I think this is all about advocating for yourself. Like you can't advocate for yourself if you don't know what you want. So if you don't, it doesn't matter how much career experience you have. It doesn't matter if you've never worked in a role that you think you might want. Like put your dick on the table, say what you want, say it with your chest, and like mean it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be my
But
advice. And I was raised by sorry to interrupt you, but I was raised by
no.
someone who like pushed me to do that. Like
Yeah.
I am so lucky because my dad was like, you are going to be in rooms where people will try to make you feel small because you're a woman. And you need to advocate for yourself. You need to work harder, unfortunately. You need to know your shit and you don't take shit from people. Like I remember the first time um I called him. I had like my first job in London and I was like, they're not paying me enough money and I don't know what to do about it. And he's like, well, have you fucking asked them to pay you more money? And I was like, no, but shouldn't they just do that? He's like,
Do it.
oh, sweet girl. No, 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 no. Like
Yeah.
you need to ask. And I mean, that goes back to advocating for yourself, but yeah.
But there's a piece missing here that drives me nuts today as manager is people who advocate for themselves and ask and say, I want to be this, but are unwilling to do the work to get there. And I think my advice to like the next generation or like other women is don't be afraid to join stretch projects. Don't be afraid to put your hand up and volunteer for
Mm,
opportunities for other projects and show your willingness to be a team player, to go beyond your role, and to work a little bit harder. Because I very much believe that you don't get the job and then start behaving like it. you start behaving like you have the
Oh,
job and
such
then
good
you get
advice.
it. And it's 1,000% true. And again, getting wooey, anything you want in this world, you're like, I want this much money. I want this kind of partner. I want this. I want that. Every manifestation thing you come back to is like the law of assumption is one of the key drivers of this, which assume and act as if you already have it and let the universe catch up to you. So like
That
in
was
your
a really good
job,
Nicole moment.
thanks.
That
I
was a
felt
good
it.
Nicole quote. Yeah.
But it's true. Like in work, I did not get promoted because they're like, I think she has the potential to do this. I was already doing it without the expectation that I was going to get promoted. And in this job specifically, I didn't interview for my promotions. They offered them to me,
Yeah. Badass.
right?
And I think even just to parse this out, I think that it's a complicated one, this like act as if, because I also hear people when they say I shouldn't be taking on extra stress and extra work when I'm not being, compensated for it. And I know everyone has different schools of thought on this. I think the most important thing for me when I'm thinking about promotion for someone is the behavior and
Yes. And the
so it's
attitude.
the attitude, the behavior, like can I trust them with this? And it's matching those qualities up. Like at our work, we have, or sorry, at my work, we have sort of two sets of expectations. One is, their skill set and what they do day to day, and the other is their approach. And so if you can be working on your approach, if you understand what you're being measured on, and you can work on continuing to improve your approach skills, that doesn't necessarily mean you're taking on tons more work. That's just like showing up as a leader.
Yeah. And it's not about even working yourself to the point of burnout, which
Yeah,
both of us have done. Let's not, like, let's call
totally.
a
It's
spade a
not fun.
spade. But when I'm looking at who I'm going to promote, it's who's being a bit more strategic, who is doing the stuff in a way that, like you said, I can trust them. They can take it on. And 9/10 of it genuinely is the energy they embody. And I had someone, and unfortunately, she just moved on to another role. She was working on my team. And when we started having conversations around where she wanted to go, the energy shift that she made in how she was showing up every day and how she was getting involved in projects and taking ownership and leading, I'm like, oh, this is a completely different person. And it wasn't because she was doing
Mm,
more work, she was showing up differently.
I think ownership is such an important word here. It's like it's the proactivity and ownership of like
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for my manager, who in this case would be us, to catch this. I'm catching it before it gets to
Yes.
them. I think
Yeah.
like that idea of like feeling a sense of responsibility for something is something that, yeah, I look for.
And
Um,
I mean, I've done this, like, we'll talk. I don't realize when we were doing our doc talks that I've never properly talked about the year I turned 30 and how I totally blew my life up and everything that was happening amongst, like, at the same time. And we will at some point because I think there's a lot of lessons in there. But
mhm,
I was in a job that was not meant for me. And in my gut, I knew it was not meant for me. So it didn't work out. But what I learned from it and in the feedback I got from management was that even in a situation that wasn't meant for me, where like the odds were stacked against me, the way I showed up every day and the effort I put into everything I did was second to none. And those are two things that no matter where you go in life are so important. And they're the only two things that you have any control over. So if you
mm,
do not manage and handle your attitude and your effort, you're up shit's creek at this point.
yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking too about like the things that we didn't know, right? Like when you think about our parents' careers,
Yeah,
and what was normal then, and even just for us in our 20s, like I feel like so many positive strides have been made, for what work could look like for women in their 20s now, 10 years from now.
totally.
um, and when I think about that, I guess, yeah, my one piece of advice would be try not to set arbitrary, I guess, glass ceilings or boundaries on yourself. Like, it's like, fake it till you make it, essentially. Like, it, I don't know where I got the confidence. There's so many areas of my life that I do not have a ton of confidence in. I'm working on, but I always had the confidence to just be like, no, I blindly deserve this raise, or I that has served me so well.
Be
Um
delusional.
yeah, like, just like allow yourself to take on the challenge and then prove to yourself you can do it, and then that cycle will pay back in dividends, because you'll know that if you take on something that feels really scary and hard at work, you every other time, maybe you haven't nailed it, but you've done it and you learned a lot, and that's going to continue to happen. It's yeah, that wasn't as eloquent as your Nicole quotes,
I
but
no, no, no. I think
I
it's
think
great. It's so important. It's just like assume,
yeah,
like assume that you deserve it. I have one last on the career side, and then I think we should move on to one of the other areas. But it's not a bad thing for people to underestimate you, and
mm,
it's not a bad thing. Like I had a call this week with one of our partners, and I was speaking about the girl that was leaving, and he was like, well, does this create now an opportunity for you to move up? And I'm like, she reported to me, like she was on my team. Like I and I
wow,
handled it a little bit more gracefully than that. But I, as younger women that are at the table, people will always underestimate you. And it makes it so you have endless opportunity to prove yourself and shine. Because like I would much rather someone underestimate me than overestimate me. It's like, I don't know how to
yeah,
properly articulate this, but don't take that personally. Recognize that's an advantage for you.
yeah, I love that. I've not thought about it that way, but I think it's really smart. And then I have just like a couple really tactical things, a couple
Okay,
tactical advice
go.
for the
This
girlies.
is going to be an entire career
I know this
episode.
is an entire career episode, but two tactical things. Don't accept a promotion without a raise, ever. Okay? It happens to people that people get excited about the promotion, but it is not being compensated fairly. And if you end up in that position, it is so hard to claw your way out of. So please do not accept a promotion without a raise. And I don't mean you can only accept raises, like it doesn't work the inverse way. Like, accept pay rises. Um, if it's a promotion, it needs to come with compensation. Um, and then finally, don't be afraid to put your manager, don't be afraid to ask your manager about benchmarking. Don't be afraid to ask your manager about, what the future of your compensation structure looks like. It is your manager's job to have hard conversations about your pay, with their finance or their leadership team. I think I've noticed, because I pretty much only manage women, because I work in marketing. There's a lot of women who work in marketing, and I've noticed that women often don't want to make other women, I guess in this position, me, but they don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or under the gun. And so I have managed people who, and it's a hard conversation for me to have with them in that relationship, the dynamic that we have. But I wish I could have said to them, and in some situations I have said, we should have a conversation about your compensation. That is, I'm expecting them to ask me about benchmarking and how much they should be making and what their progression looks like and performance reviews and all of those hard things. I know they're not fun to talk about, but they're super important. So I guarantee the majority of your male counterparts, sorry, are having those conversations with their managers. So I'm here for the girlies. Always ask for what you deserve.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, we're real
Alrighty.
passionate about our careers because
It's the one
Um,
thing we're good at. I'm
the
kidding.
one thing we're good at. Onto health and wellness, where we really thrive.
Yeah. The big one for me, having had my health basically up in the air for the last 2.5 years, and I've said this so many times, you have to take care of yourself first, because if you don't and you aren't healthy or your body's not working, you don't realize until you're in that position how difficult everything else is going to be. Like
Mm,
being taken out every 2 months with like pneumonia or bronchitis or COVID or the flu slows you down so much and deteriorates and really screws up your body. And so, rest is so important. And it's interesting we're having this conversation after we just talked about career.
I
But
know. I think that's part of the point is like they are very connected, at least for us in our stage of life. One can often really not serve the other.
yeah. And so it's so important to say no and to rest and to not look as people who are high achieving and go, go, go all the time. Rest is productive. And
Yeah.
it's a mindset shift that you have to make in order to take care of yourself. Because, like, you can't keep going and can't keep achieving if your body's in full shutdown mode. And then on that, in our healthcare system, no one is going to advocate for you like you. So if you have the questions, if you don't feel like you're being taken seriously, if you want a second opinion, whatever that may be, advocate for yourself. And don't
Mm,
stop until you feel like you are satisfied with the results.
I think that
Because,
last part is really important. If the
yeah,
satisfied with the results part, because I think, at least for me, I've been in situations where I was like, I guess I'm just supposed to understand this
no.
and
And
have
like,
let it lie.
no. And like, recognize maybe it's not traditional medicine that you need to always go to. So, like, I started seeing the naturopath. Um, and I have a new family doctor, and she is great. Like, I saw her last week. I had a pap test, and where I was just asking her questions about random things, and I was in there, and like we were just having a good conversation. But I had gone in to see her maybe 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks, 2 months ago, and because again, I just feel like I haven't been able to get answers on why I've been so sick for the last few years. Side note: I've been sick since March, so this is huge. Um, and she said to me something that I will always appreciate. She says, I recognize how frustrating this is. I'm going to take this as far as I can take this for you. And then I will point you in the direction of who else you should maybe be looking at. And she's like, don't be afraid to look at acupuncture. Don't be afraid to look at like all these other mediums
Mm,
and modalities. And it's I've heard horror stories of people with their doctors not being taken seriously. And so that feeling like I have someone on my team to figure out what's going on with me makes me feel so vindicated in so many ways. Um, but again, I've been going to the doctor for like 2 years trying to figure out what's going on with myself. So
mm,
advocate for yourself. It's so, so, so important.
yeah. I think the biggest lesson I wish I had, or not really lesson, but the thing I wish I had recognized when I was in my 20s is I associated rest with being still.
Mm,
So I associated rest with like watching TV, um, eating on the couch. I associated it with sort of zoning
like
out.
rotting,
Yeah, like rotting. And I think rest can be going for a walk or working out. Rest can
restorative.
be like, yeah, essentially restoring you. Rest can be writing for me. Rest can be reading. It's not, I mean, I totally, last night's a perfect example. I watched an entire season of a psychological thriller. Like it was amazing.
Which
But what,
one?
Untamed on Netflix,
Oh, is it
I would
good?
recommend. Yeah, it was good. But that's not really rejuvenating or restorative. That's like, I just wanted to completely zone out. And that's great. but also you need to rest and
Yep.
like come back to yourself. And for me, that's been the big thing health wise. And then I think, we talked about this a little bit, I think in last week's episode, partying is just harder on your body in your 30s. And I definitely notice the impact of like going for drinks with friends. Like I struggle to get back into my rhythm of eating the way that I want to and exercising the way I want to if I have one too many glasses of wine on like a Thursday, like Friday's kind of shot. So that's something I'm still like figuring out for myself, and that journey's different for everyone. But just remember, like, I don't know, this is probably an odd thing to say when we're talking about health and wellness, but I got so much out of partying in my 20s. I fucking loved it. It wasn't all about drinking. It was like meeting new people and like rejuvenating myself in a totally different way.
Well,
Like I felt
because
like
you're
it
an
opened up.
extrovert.
Yeah. I opened up different areas of like the way I think about life, like by the people I met through partying. I had so much fun. So in some ways that was really restorative for me. I wouldn't call it rest, but it sort of brought me back to myself. And it's different. It looks different in your
Yeah.
30s. So is my advice party hard? I don't know. But if you feel that way about how partying is serving you and like going out and meeting new people, then like lean into that while
Yeah.
you have the energy to, because it does go away.
Yeah, and it's such an important, this is, go back and listen to our episode about partying,
Yeah.
because it is such an important developmental thing, and it's so important from a social evolution thing and building connections and relationships. So I don't disagree with you. Um, One more for me that I've only recently started to understand: consistency with movement is more important
Mm,
than intensity.
yeah, for sure.
And you do not have to sweat your like half your body weight or whatever. Like, I don't know, you don't have to like tear all of your muscles. You don't have to go through like hour hit classes 5 6 days a week. Find movement that is sustainable, repeatable, and enjoyable, and you're more likely to keep moving your body. And just moving your body at all should be your baseline.
Oh, yeah, and this I hadn't even thought about this before you mentioned that last point. I think the enjoyable part makes me think about, so I know for me in university and then into my 20s, I was working a lot with friends because I was living
Yeah.
in shared housing a lot of the time, and we would go to the gym together, go to classes together. So often it wasn't really me being like, do I enjoy this class? It was me being like, oh, we're going to this thing together. So I have the, not social pressure, but I have someone to
You have
make
a,
sure I go.
yeah.
And I
Find
wish
your
I had,
community.
I wish that I had sort of asked myself, like, what do I actually enjoy doing to work out? Because I think you want to set yourself up with something that you is enjoyable and obviously good for your body that can sort of carry you into your 30s. And it could be about, creating a community around it as well. I'm kind of reckoning with like, I do Orange Theory. I don't love it. I do it because it's like a thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm currently going through this like, do I switch? Do I transition? And I wish I just thought about like, what's the thing or what are the
Mm.
things? It doesn't have to be one thing that make up my like exercise pie or wellness pie, um, and been a bit more intentional about that.
Mm. We love a pie.
We love a pie.
Um, no, I love that. I think that's all very good advice. We're so knowledgeable.
We're so wise.
Oh my God. Okay, maybe like a few more just in like other categories, and then we can wrap it up for today and save some of our knowledge for other future, maybe standalone episodes. Um, One that I'm really reckoning with from like a self-worth and growth perspective is you don't have to be chosen to be valuable.
Oof.
And I saw a TikTok the other day that really resonated with me, where it's the power isn't in being chosen, The power is in being the chooser. And that's the energy in so many aspects of my life, not just dating, but in jobs, in my finances, in life decisions that I want to make, in friendships. I never want to feel like I was picked or something just happened to me. I want to feel like I had the power to make the decision that was the best decision for me.
Mm.
And it's a
Mic
mindset
drop.
shift.
Yeah, I have one more. I think it's I was just reflecting on, and this is going to come out the same way it comes out of Nicole's mouth because I don't think in the same way, but bear with me here. I was thinking about how your 20s are very risky in a lot of ways. Risky financially, you often don't have that much money. So it feels a little tenuous sometimes. You don't have, yeah, you don't have like the financial stability that you might have in your 30s. You're trying to figure out what your path is. You're not sometimes not on one yet. You're trying to figure out who your good friends are. There's a lot of like forming happening. But one thing I was reflecting on recently is your 30s aren't necessarily less risky. You just have to choose to take risks in a different way. And I think that that gives me as someone who in their late 20s was so worried about the pressure of like what you do in your 30s of like quote unquote settling down. That is not something I was interested in at all. And I used to get really in my head about like, oh, well, where's the fun going to be? Where's the risk like involved? It's just a different type of risk, you know, like you have the ability to take risks in your life in a different way than you might have in your 20s, whether that's travel, whether that's in the way you're dating. You know yourself a lot better, so you can figure out what kind of risky behavior is still safe for you and will bring you joy. But I think, yeah, that's one thing that I would tell my younger self about your 30s is it's not necessarily less risky in a good way.
Yeah. I think one of the best books that I read in my 20s is The Defining Decade. And it talks
Mm,
about this where, yeah, you honestly, the time to take risks, honestly, more than anything, with minimal consequences is probably your 20s. So
yeah.
that when you go to make risks in your 30s, because again, you have more stability, you have more maybe responsibilities depending on where you're at in life. Like you got to make them differently and more confidently in a lot of
Mm.
ways. So use your 20s to really fuck around and find out. That was my first F bomb of the episode. Anything else we want to close
No,
out on?
let's end with a wrap up. So ChatGPT helped us with this one. Is that correct, Nicole?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if we could whisper one thing to our 27-year-old selves, what would it be?
Trust your gut and stop gaslighting yourself.
Whew.
Like,
Yeah.
I am thinking about who I was at 27. I was getting ready to move to the UK. Which were, again, we'll talk about this on a future episode, were probably two of the most difficult years of my life for a variety of reasons. And I think I kept just gaslighting myself over and over and over again and ignoring my gut because of what I thought I could have
Mm,
or what I thought I was worth. And if I'm totally honest, listening to my gut would have saved me so much heartache because my gut has never been wrong.
yeah.
And
That's a hard lesson.
all of us have that intuition. All of us have that little voice. And one of the best things you can do is tune into it and start like almost like an old fashioned radio where you're turning into like the frequency to like get the
Mm,
clear signal find your clear signal and figure out what that voice is trying to tell you, and like intuitively really tap into it, because it'll make your life so much easier.
Love that.
What about
I
you?
think yeah, if I think back to who I was at 27, I was working really hard, having a lot of fun, and sort of very afraid of what the next chapter would look like. And I think very self-critical in a unuseful way of like, I haven't figured out the romance side of my life. Like, I had never been in a relationship. I felt really ashamed of that. And so I think my advice would be, you can't figure everything out all at once. Like a
Yeah.
lot of, you go through your 20s, and some of our friends met the love of their lives in their 20s, and they have kids now, and they're looking at, how can I bolster my career and what I want to be doing in my life. Some people focused on their career in their 20s. That was definitely me. And is still, not playing catch up, because that's not the way the world works, but figuring out what a healthy romantic relationship looks like for me and what my romantic life looks like. Some of us traveled all of our 20s and are now just figuring out where they want to live, like I wish I had had the self-awareness to be like, you don't need to have every single thing figured out. It's not really possible. So
No,
just be happy with what you do have figured out and focus on the things that you want to continue figuring out.
I love that.
We're so
God,
wise. So
so
wise.
wise. Guys,
I hope you guys liked this. It
tell
was
us if you liked
cathartic.
it.
Yes. Yeah, please tell us. And we will be back very soon with some new guests, and hopefully one of the most vulnerable episodes that Nicole's ever given.
Yeah, it's a doozy. It's a
Oh, it's a
doozy.
doozy. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys. We love you.
Love you. Bye.